Hello and welcome to The Fix, and today we're going to have a look at this C350e. It's a plug-in hybrid, and the problem with this car is, as if you could see, all the suspension has dropped. If you could see, all the body is pretty low and it's basically touching all the speed bumps and everything, and it won't go up. I've actually connected a diagnostics to it and tried to pump up the suspension, but it's not working. So what I'm going to do first, I've got hold of a wiring diagram. I'm going to check if there's the power supply, or and all the wiring to the pump is okay. And then once we've checked that, we'll be able to determine whether the pump's faulty or if it's got airbag faulty or an air leak somewhere, and then we'll work on it from there. Okay, first of all I'm going to check the fuse, so let's get into the fuse box. Okay, I think one of the fuse boxes is under here. So if I just undo this clip, looks like to get under here you've got to take all those wipers off and everything. So what I'll do, I'll just rest that up here, and then I'm going to undo this. It's got 2 torque screws on it. So I'll just undo them and I'll just hook this up like this for now. Okay, I'm going to just take these 2 torques off. Okay, now I'm going to check the fuses. This is the fuse for the air suspension. Right, that don't seem to have... it's got no voltage coming to it. So let me just pull that fuse out. That fuse is okay. Now let me just check in there, both sides. Nope, no voltage. So that's the relay for it. I'll just pull that out and check. That's okay, that should have voltage there. When we switch the car on and the relay switches, then it should give this one live. So it's not going to give that live at the moment. This one should be negative and that should be positive. The positive's there on both sides, but I realise there's no negative there, and of course it won't be there. So if I bridge the relay from here to there, now if I check this, now that's live. So now one end of the fuse should be live here. Yep, that's live. So if I put the fuse back in, okay, now both sides of this should be reading live. That's it. So now there's live onto this. I'm going to go inside and see if I could get the suspension to rise. Even after making that fuse live, we can't get the compressor, the suspension compressor, to work. So I'm going to have to do some further investigations into what the problem is. Now we've had a look at the power supply on the fuse and the relay. We wasn't getting no power supply, and then I connected it directly, but the car is still not rising. The compressor's not coming on. So I think the compressor's located behind here. That's what I had a look at the diagram for the location of the compressor, and I found out that it's behind this panel here near the bumper. So we're going to have to jack up the car, take off the wheel and take off the part of the inner wheel arch, plastic surroundings. Okay, got to jack the car up, but we've got a problem. The car's dropped right down to the bottom, so we're not able to get the jack under there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drive the car onto a brick and then try and raise it that way. Right, I'm going to put a couple of bricks there. I think just one would have to do because the front spoiler's touching the other one. And I'm going to drive onto that brick Yeah, it's still not high enough to get the jack underneath, so what I'm going to do, right now, the jack could slide under there. Yeah, just gonna put the stand on underneath it. I'm also going to leave the jack on. Corrosion has sealed the wheel on, so I have to kick it off. That's it. Okay. Okay, I've got to remove this inner arch on this side. According to the diagrams, it's behind here, the compressor with the control module on it, but sometimes on the diagrams they get it wrong with the left-hand drive car. So let's take this off anyway and have a look if it is behind there. First of all, I think I'm gonna pop these pins in. Yeah, you got to pop them in. Right then, should be able to get this out. If we can't find the pins, I'll have to get some new clips. So that bit's come out now. Got to just get behind there like that. Got to take one of these 10 mil plastic nuts off from under here. That's one. Got to take the other plastic nut off. Okay, and now I think that's all of them out. If I just pull this away, and over here, if you look up here, there, you look in there, it's slotted in there, so okay, right, it's got to be taken out from this slot here. So it's a bit fiddly to take it out, but right, if you see in there, the tabs are actually fixed in there. So if I just put a screwdriver, that's it, that one's come out. Same with this one, that one's come out, and just bend that, that's it. We've got our one side of the inner wheel arch out. I think this is the compressor unit right here. So I'm just going to check that now, if it's got power coming to it. Okay, now I'm going to take this plug off here. This is the compressor plug. I think that supplies power to it. Okay, and now I'm going to give this direct live to the compressor, and let's see if it comes on. Okay, now I'm going to give that pump direct. I'll put the negative in and give it direct live. It is working, but it's working very slow. Okay. Yeah, I think there is a fault in the pump because this wire has gone red hot. Yeah, that's gone red hot, so I think the pump is faulty, so we're going to have to take that out. Right, first of all I'm going to undo one of these hoses, which is a 12mm nut. Yep. Okay, put that out of the way there. And then I think if we undo this plug, that one's off, that one's already off, and I think we've got to undo these bolts, which look like 10mm. Yep. Okay, that one's come off. Got to take this hose off as well. Right, that hose is off as well, and I think it must have another bolt like this one on the back, so I've got to take this undercut carriage off, so I'll do that next. Okay. There's a bolt under here. The bolt is under there. I could just about, I think, get to it. Yep. It's a bit awkward. Let me just get something else to get to that bolt. To that bolt with a short extension and this ratchet, so I'm just going to undo it. Don't tell me it's got another one. There's another bolt holding it, so I'm going to have to undo this panel as well, this undercarriage at the front. So let me see if I could just undo some of it and get away with it, but I'm not sure. Okay, I think another bolt in here. Yeah, which is I think just here. That's all off. And now we can take this panel off. All the panels are off now. I just got to undo the last bolt. I've taken out that front undercarriage and it's just here on the other side. Okay, that's out now. Pull the pump out, and I think just this pipe is attached to it, so unhook that pipe, and we've got our compressor out. Right, now we've got the compressor out of the car, which was working, but I don't think it's working properly. I think it's actually seizing up, so we'll have another look at that. Okay, I've just checked the pump again, and in there, that terminal, if I could show you, that terminal there, it's gone a bit reddish, so I think it's overheated and had a bit of corrosion on it. So I've cleaned it all, and I checked the pump again. The pump is turning over fast now, and the wire's not heating up, so it's actually got a good connection. But the other problem we got, we're not getting no power to this power cable that goes onto that pin. So we'll have to check out what the fault is with that, and that's to do with over there. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the pump back on now, because we know the pump's all working properly. I've got to put all the grommets of the pump back on over here. That's one. Two, and the last one. Yep, they're all on now. Okay, I've got to put these springs and these sliders in there, 3 of them. Then I'm going to slide the pump back inside over there. But before doing that, I think I've got to, yep, this pipe, I'm just going to hook it back into there. That's gone in, and now that's fallen out, never mind. Okay, I've slid the pump back on there. It's got 3 of these legs, the 2 go on the back you saw earlier on. So what you've got to do is put the spring in and then put this slider in. I've already done that to the back ones. It was hard to show it because it's, you know, a bit fiddly getting it on. So then once you've got this on, the other 2 are the same way I've done them at the back, and now I'm just going to tighten them up. That one's done. I've got to do these 2 here, 1 here, and 1 on this side. So it's just here. Right, all them 3 are done up now. This is actually on like a suspension, so it don't send the vibrations through the body when it's pumping. Another thing I've got to do is clip this back in there. Right, now I'm going to put this hose back on, this pipe. That's the one. This is the hose that goes into that manifold that pumps up the suspension and everything. The air comes out of there and goes into there. If I just tighten that back on. Okay, that's done. Now I've got to put this hose back on. This just slides over there like so. That's done, and I want to plug this plug back into here. Now before I plug this one in, remember this was the power supply that was overheating, and I've cleaned the terminal out on there, and then I tested the pump and it's working properly now. It's got power to it. And what I'm going to do, there's a pin in there, I'm just going to bend it in like that and like that. So that's gone a bit tighter now. But before I put it on, I'm going to make sure there's power coming to this. Right, now I've come back to our fuse box. This was the fuse for the suspension pump, the compressor. Right, it's got no live going to it, and this is the relay for it. Now what the problem we've got here is, see, this side is live, which is right, it should be, and when the relay operates, it switches, then it gives power to this terminal. So this terminal gives it to that. That's the switching on it, as you can see there. That closes up, and then you get this relay to come on, and it gives power to that, and that wire supplies power to our compressor over there, the cable that we were going to look at in a minute. Now this side has got a live, which is okay, there's no problem with that, but the problem we've got is this side. This pin here, I've got the ignition on already, so on some things when you switch the ignition on, this gets grounded and it switches on the relay, because you have a positive and negative, and then it switches the relay, but we're not getting a ground here. So that's the actual problem. Earlier on I did connect a direct wire, a pin from there to there, and I gave that live, but we still didn't get live at that plug because there was a problem in that connection in the plug. Just to make sure we got live on the plug to the compressor. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a wire in there. That's the one that should be grounded, and what I'm going to do, put this relay back in. Okay, I've got one of my wires here. I'm just going to connect it to ground there. That's grounded now. That's our ground lead. So what I'm going to do with this ground lead, if you could hear this, if I put this on there, it should click. See, that's clicking. So that means our relay is on. I'm going to leave that ground in there now. That relay is working, so we should have power to this fuse now, which we do, look. Both sides. Alright, now this is the positive terminal of that. That's where we switched on the relay now. We should have power here, which we have. So that means this is all working properly now, as it should. But, and the pump, we've cleaned the terminal and everything, the pump actually does come on. So what I'm going to do now is investigate what's actually wrong over there, if it's the fuse box, if it's a wiring or some other fault. So we'll have a look at that a bit later on. For now, I want to put this back together. Yeah, before putting this plug onto the compressor, as you can see, I've already bent the pin in a little bit so it gets a better contact. I'm going to put some of this electrical contact grease in it so it gets a good connection inside. I'll put some on this side. And then just give that a wipe. Okay, and then I'm going to plug this back in. That's plugged back in now. All our compressor is completely fitted. All the plugs are in and everything. So now I'm not going to bother putting the undercarriage and everything back on until I've completely repaired the fault. I've let the car down now. I'm going to connect this wire ground. Then I'm going to go and switch on the ignition and see if I could get the suspension to rise. I'm going to switch on the ignition now and see if it, or I'll start it up. I'll press this button here and see if the suspension rises. Let me shut that door, I think. Now the door's shut. Now at the moment don't seem to be doing anything, so I'm going to put the diagnostics on it and see if I could get it to rise. Right, I'll put the diagnostics on it now. I'm going to clear the fault codes. Alright, it's still got fault codes, it's not going to clear them. So alright, now how this works is when this pin here gets grounded on the relay there, then it switches this relay on, so it sends power to the compressor, and that's not happening. And according to the diagram, this pin is grounded by the suspension control unit, which we'll have to take a look at now. Let's get the suspension control unit out, the ECU, and have a look if there's a problem there. Okay, first I've got to take this trim off. So if I pull this from here, this trim has come off, and now I've got to pull the carpet out. I think that's enough to get to the unit. Hang on a minute, what's that? That looks like a mouse might have got in here. The carpet being like that, so you just quick look if something's broken the wiring. It does look like a mouse has got in here, but I'm not sure because of the way all that foam is broken up. So let me just open up that panel. Okay, I'm going to undo these 4 nuts, 10mm nuts. Okay, that covers off there. Right, I've actually found an auxiliary battery here, over there if you can see the little one, and I'm looking for the suspension control unit, the aromatic suspension control unit. In the meantime, I just want to unclip this to see if there really was a mouse or something that got under here, and if it's chewed some of the wiring. Right. Okay, maybe not. Seems to be all okay under here. So let's put that down, but I just want to know how the foam got the way it is. That's usually when a mouse tries to make a little living space. I've seen that, but I don't know, I'll leave that at the moment and let's just find the module. Okay, I've just got this diagram now, and I asked Mercedes and they said to me it's under the driver's seat, because this is a left-hand drive car. If you could see, the module is number 100. That's the one that's meant to be the air suspension control module. But they said to me, because this is a right-hand drive car, look under the driver's seat. So now what I'm going to do is take the driver's seat out and have a look if the module's there. But first of all, I've moved the seat completely forward, and I'm going to undo these 2 torques at the back of the seat, which is E12 torque. I've got to slide the seat all the way back there, and then I'm going to undo these 2. I think what I'll do is just use that one there. Then just lift the seat out a bit you see under here, we're going to have to undo these two plugs. Okay, that's one out, and this one like that, and I think if I unclip that, off the seat, that stays on the floor, then I could pull this seat right out. Just move the seat back a bit like that, so hopefully I could get access to the control unit if it is there. The only module under the driver's seat is this one, which is the parking distance control module, or the parking module. Right, it's not under the driver's seat, so I'm going to take the passenger seat out. First I want to move it all forward, and then I'm going to undo them two torque E12 bolts at the back. Okay, now that should give us access. Aha, there's a module here. That must be it. Alright, now to take the, I'm going to take the seat out. To take the seat out, I'm going to just take these two plugs off. That one's out, and that one's out, and then I'm going to pull this off of here like that, and then that's disconnected. Now I should be able to lift the seat out. Okay, I'm going to just pull this seat out of here. Okay, got one seat out of the car. Hang on a minute. The seat belt's still connected to it, so I'm not going to undo the seat belt. I'll just put it on the side for a few minutes until I could get the module out. Okay, now I'm going to just try and lift some of this carpet out. If I just undo this panel a bit, get the carpet down here and lift it, then we get access to this module. I think for just pinch them tabs up, and then it slides out of there, and that looks like, yep, that looks like the suspension control module. So if I just pull that off, that's it, that one's off. Same with this one, and we've got our module out. Now I'm going to find out which one of these wirings, after looking at the diagram, grounds that terminal on the fuse box out in the front of the engine, that grounds that relay to activate the pump. Okay, I've connected my wire, my test wire, to that terminal in there of the relay. So now we're going to check the wiring from the socket of the control unit, of the suspension control unit. So I've got that wire connected there. Okay, that wire that I've got coming from the fuse box is connected onto my meter on one side there, and this is the other side. So if I touch that now, you can see that it's got continuity there now. So basically what my test is, I'm going to check the wire that's going to that fuse, to that relay from here. So let's see if we've got continuity and there's no breakage in the wire. So this is the wire we've got to check, which is the This is either purple with a black stripe. So that wire is coming in over here, number 3. So if I put my pin in there, now look, we've got continuity there, look. If I put this in again, now if I check the meter and I put this wire in, look, I've got continuity there. So that wire has got a connection from here to the fuse box with that relay, right? So the next thing we've got to test, while I've got it all open up, I might as well do a load test on this wire in case the wire's breaking down. All right, now what I've done, that wire coming from the pin out on the relay there in the fuse box, I've connected it to one side of the battery. Then on this side I've got that wire connected that's over there in the fuse box, you know, the purple with the black stripe. Now I'm going to do, put one side of the bulb on there. I'm using a H7 bulb, right? Then this is the wire, and we're going to just connect this here. You see that's lighting up nice and bright. Because it's lighting up nice and bright, that means our wire is okay, it's not breaking down. So we've done a load test on the wire just to check that that wire from this plug is okay to that relay in that in the fuse box. So that means our circuit for this part of the job is all okay. There's no problems there. So the problems must be in the actual control unit. So we're going to check that later on. But I'll check it again for you. Look, if I connect one side of there and it's going through the battery, right, that's quite bright. So there is no, you know, loss of current or anything through that wire. Now I'm going to plug this ECU back in. Just the wire we need to check. That's plugged in now. Now this wire we got over here, which is the wire that when you turn on the ignition and stuff, this should ground out the relay to start up the pump. So let's see now if that's giving a ground signal. So now I've plugged in this wire to do a test if the ECU is grounding this terminal. So I'm going to put it in here. Nope, we're not getting no ground. If that was grounding, it'll come up like this. It'll line up with the bleep and it'll have a 00 there. So that wire's not grounding. So that means there's something wrong with this ECU. This air suspension ECU module, control module, is faulty. Now I'm going to try and get a replacement module, but this might not be the only fault. This is definitely one of the faults. We've got to rectify that first, and then because I connected up the compressor live, I gave it live over there, and it was in the fuse box. I gave it live to the relay instead of having the relay. I linked it across. And the wire was getting quite hot. So once we've done all this, we'll have to check if that's heating up again while it's operating. If it is, that means we might need a new compressor as well because it's drawing too much current. Alright, this is the original suspension control unit. I've changed it to the one that we bought online. It's already in the car, but with that one we've got another problem. We've got these fault codes on it that I cannot delete. So if I clear the fault codes, it says completed, but when I read them, it doesn't delete these fault codes. So that means that unit that we've got is faulty. So I'm going to have to send that one back and get another unit, because if there's fault codes on the unit, it won't let me set up the suspension or do anything with it. So we're going to have to send this unit back. Okay, I'm going to take this control unit back out. That one's come out. Look, I've actually marked this unit with new on it with my highlighter. Not very vague, but just not to mix the units up. So I marked it with new on it. So now I'm going to send this one back and I'm going to arrange another one. Yeah, so I've managed to get hold of another unit. This is the second one we've bought. The first one I've sent back because faulty. And this one's off a C217 Mercedes, which was on a W222 chassis. This is a 205 chassis and this is a C350e. But the part numbers and all that is the same. So it should go straight on there. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug this unit back in. But before I plug it in, I just wanted to show you, even with all the units plugged in before, it had this sign, malfunction. That means the suspension's malfunction. So hopefully when we plug this unit in, that sign should go, and then that means it's okay. I'm going to plug this panel back in under here now. This goes in there upside down like that. Just plug this in and push that so it pulls itself in. The same with the other one. That one don't reach that far, so we've got to put this inside. Right, that's plugged in. Then this ECU goes back into its plates over there. That's done. Hopefully we won't have to, you know, go to that anymore. Hopefully that's done and fitted. Right, now we've plugged the unit in, I'm going to switch on the ignition and let's see. As you can see, there's no malfunction signs come up yet, come up with the mileage, otherwise it will display the sign straight away in the middle there. So let's see if it's working now. What I'll do, I'll just start up the car. Okay, I've started the car up now. We've got the suspension button here, which has got a light lit up on it now, which it didn't have before. So if I press that, it should raise the car. Yeah, if you look in the center of the dash, it says vehicle rising. So that means now the suspension control module is working. I'm just going to put the diagnostics on it and see if there's any fault codes. I've got the diagnostics hooked up to it now, and there's all these faults. That most probably because we had the control module off. So I'm going to delete them all now. Let's read them again. No fault codes. So that means now that that control unit is working properly. There's no faults on it, and our suspension problem has been fixed. Now that we've cured the suspension problem on this C350 Mercedes, the problem actually was, it had two problems. One of them was a bad connection to the compressor, which we repaired, and then the other problem was the control unit was faulty. So after changing the control unit and then adapting the suspension and everything is working fine as it should do. So remember, don't jinx it, fix it. And if you enjoyed the video and you already haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and also click the bell icon to get all the future videos of the fix. Thank you.